Hello, this is Austin from Corals Galore. We're about to do a feeding of the Colombian red-tailed boa. Now, a little bit about the boa. They reach up to sizes of 14 to 16 feet long, so they get rather big. In Ohio, past 12 feet, they're actually illegal, so you have to have a license. So that's not something really interesting about them. They're from the South American rainforest. They usually eat like things twice the size of their head, so they can eat rabbits, large rats, chickens, all the larger mammals, and they can go up to around 6 months without eating. So think about an appetite right there. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get the rat over here.
And One-Eye Willie here is missing an eye. That's how he came from the supplier.
Now they get the name boa constrictor because they actually will constrict their prey and cut off their air, so they actually suffocate them. And they got really, really thick muscles in their body, so right when they can start constricting, it's literally minutes between the time of being alive and death. So you'll have little muscle spasms here and there, but other than that, it's a very quick death. And also too, their fangs, they have they have a lot of set of teeth actually, so they have a top row of teeth, they're like razor blades. They have a bottom row of teeth, they're also the same thing. They have a lot of teeth, they're really small, and then they have 4 big fangs, so when they bite into the rat or anything they're eating, it goes straight into their skin and causes a lot of damage. And like I said, this guy's name is Rocky Balboa, and he is around 7 to 8 feet long. It's a pretty impressive size. It's actually hard to find a snake in this area this big. Usually pet stores sell them around a foot or 2. He's around, here at Corals Galore, he is $300. So he's $299.99. Come on in and see him. He's really cool. I've had him for around 7 years. I got him when I was a freshman in high school. And now I'm a sophomore in college. So yeah, I've had him around 7 to 8 years. Yeah. The size of food I used to feed him when he was smaller, I fed him mice. And then he progressively got into small rats, and then he got into the medium rats, and now he's into the large or jumbo rats. And even here and then we'll feed him larger rabbits or chickens. Yeah, snakes are actually one of the easiest reptiles to take care of. As long as you give them water and food once a month, they're actually really good.
Is the rat alive still?
The rat is actually dead right now. You can only see the muscle spasms right now going through his body. He's just dead. But yeah.
How long is it going to take before he starts to eat it?
It'll take roughly around 10 to 15 minutes before he starts actually consuming it. What they do is they actually will, once they constrict it and they kill it, they'll kind of analyze it a little bit to make sure he's dead, and then they'll start the consuming process to where he goes from the head first, and then he'll start just kind of slowly digesting it, start swallowing it. And then if anyone has any questions, you can comment and I'll answer them through the live video. Like I said, this guy's name is Rocky. I named him after Rocky Balboa, the boxer. It's a pretty good movie. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Yep. It'll take a little bit, but he'll eventually swallow it. It's kind of awkward how he kind of bit into it. He went in from the other end. Usually when snakes bite, they'll go in from the head first, not the rear first. This is actually a really interesting feeding video.
Now, even though his tail's still moving, he's actually dead?
Yes, he's having like muscle spasms right now, so yeah, he's dead.
What will happen if you were to try to take the rat from him?
The rat, if you tried taking the rat from him, he would actually start striking and he'd become very aggressive. Usually whenever they see food or smell a rat or sense any presence of food, they'll get really aggressive and start striking. Now, feeding your red-tailed boa, it's actually recommended to feed them in a separate container aside from the tank, just because feeding them in the tank makes them cage aggressive. Now, cage aggression is something that happens when, say, you put your hand in the tank or do anything like that. They'll strike at your hand thinking it's feeding time. Now, we do recommend feeding them in a box or a separate container just because it's a lot better for the snake and his aggression level whenever you're trying to hold him or just work on the tank itself. Yeah, looks like he's actually going to start swallowing them here soon. Yep, he is unconstricting. And then as you can see, those layer of teeth right there, those do not feel good. I've actually gotten bitten once or twice before. He bit me and started constricting around my arm. It's actually quite painful. And they're not venomous, so just make sure you know that. First time I've actually videotaped this, so he's probably wondering what the heck's going on. Watch the questions. Yes, and they actually break off quite often. When he bit me, he actually broke off a tooth in my arm, and I had to take a pair of pliers and pry it out. So yes, they do lose their teeth and they'll regrow them. So yes, and they also, I know everyone knows this, but snakes do shed. So they'll shed roughly a few weeks after feeding. And usually during the shedding process, their entire face, their body, their eyes gets covered in this gray snake skin. That around then, their temperament gets, they're really, really angry around that time. So they'll start striking and, because they can't see or anything. So that's something you have to consider. Usually, females grow a little larger, and sometimes it doesn't really vary on sex. Usually, they'll both eat about the same. The season, during the winter time, or if it's a little cooler, they'll eat a little less. During the summer, they'll eat more. It just depends. Yeah, I can see when you guys said gross. It's a circle of life, everything has to eat. He'll get up to around 14 to 16 feet long. And like I said, after about 12 feet in the state of Ohio, you have to carry a exotic animal license, which is I think around $250 a year. So it's not too bad. Yeah, ever since the Zanesville incident where the guy let out all the animals, that passed or whatever. And here we go. Looks like he's getting ready to start eating them. Yep. The process of him actually like swallowing and eating the rat takes a little bit. Here we go. So yeah, it takes about a week or two to digest. And once they fully digest, they'll poop, and then that's when you can actually start feeding them again. So it takes roughly around a week or two. And you want to make sure you go at least 2 or 3 weeks without feeding them, just because if you feed them once a week, that's called power feeding. And that's something you do not want to do. My snake, he's not really the smartest guy. He's actually going in from, like I said, the rear end. Usually they go in from the head first, but I don't know what he's doing. Okay, well, looks like he's actually about to. And sometimes too, snakes will kill rats and then they'll leave them for a little bit before actually going back to eating them, but we're seeing what he's doing. It's hard to tell what animals do, So it does look like he's going back around to the head, trying just to find that right point of entry, and yep, he's kind of smelling it out, figuring out which end would be better to go at. think he's actually thinking I might be dropping in another rat or something, so. I don't think he's used to seeing a bunch of people in front of him too, so that's another thing. Just get a drink of water before you start eating them. It's okay, bud. And here we go. There we go. Yep. Always from the head first. Like I said, snakes and other smaller species of snakes are actually really easy to take care of. Like I said, the easiest reptile to take care of in my opinion. It's hard to tell what he's doing right now. It looks like he's just looking for another rat or looking at us thinking what we're doing. Yep, there we go. Snakes, in my opinion, are extremely awkward when they eat. There you just saw a little bit, like a little better of his teeth. Kind of ridge up. They kind of go down at an angle, so that way when they bite, it actually goes really deep into their skin. And he's not rushing at all. He knows he has all the time in the world because it is dead. Like I said, snakes can eat up to twice their head size, so they can eat pretty big rats or animals or different types of stuff. And snakes do not have a gag reflex. That's another cool thing about them. They pull it in by their sets of teeth, so as they're eating it, they'll actually move their teeth and their mouth and kind of shake it like it's one big muscle. So they move along the sides of their mouth and their body, and they'll slowly start biting into things. It's not the fastest process in the world, but you know, the striking is probably the most entertaining part. When he actually kills the rat. My favorite part is at the end when they like slurp it up like they're eating spaghetti. So you can get a better idea. This is his entire body right here. And why they're called red tails is you can see that kind of brownish red tail. So just to give you an idea of why they get called red-tailed boas. Taking bigger bites now, looks like. Looks like he's moving it. They'll kind of move up so that way they can get it in better. Yeah, they can. They will actually consume chicken and beak and all. And it just processes through all the meat and stuff, and then you'll see them poop out the beak and claws and all the different stuff. It's kind of like when you're in 4th grade, you learn about when owls eat rats or something like that. All the muscles and meats and stuff consumes through the body, and then the claws and beaks and everything remains and gets pooped out. All the skeletons and bones. It's actually really cool. He looks like he's finishing up. Just probably a few more, a minute or two, and then he'll have the entire rat eaten. Next month we'll probably have either a feeder rabbit or a frozen chicken in, and a live chicken. Frozen or live, one of the two. See, he's getting all big so that way it'll go down his throat easier. Like I said, coming here was my favorite part. Yeah, but only certain people can stomach this type of thing, so sometimes it's not for everyone. And that's it. So yeah. check out next month on our feeding video. If he's still here, if you have any questions, you can feel free to call Corals Galore or stop in and see him. So yeah. Thanks for watching.